Those who are empresses are icons who shape culture beyond the decade. Their imprint will forever be imprinted in the collective cycle of consciousness, and people will mirror your presence for centuries to come. Hi, I'm Naomi Lotayo, the brand priestess, and I guide visionaries, founders, and creators with multi-venture visions to align their brand with their God-given vision. And I activate their capacity to govern their respective industries, cultures, and realms. If this video activates you in any way, make sure you click the link in my description box to join and subscribe my newsletter. It is my private transmission chamber where founders, creatives, powerful leaders, and celebrities receive revelation-based guidance, governance codes, and strategic clarity for their multi-realm visions. This is part 4 of 6 of the governance archetypal system for multi-venture founders. You can access all 6 parts linked below in my playlist, the official playlist for this entire series. And if you haven't watched part 3, the Emperor, it will be linked down below. This is part 4, where we'll be talking about the Empress archetype. Anyways, that's all set, I'll be jumping into the Empress archetype. The Empress is the feminine version of multi-realm ownership and rulership. And if you haven't watched my past videos where I talk about the king, queen, and the emperor so far, I just want to set the precedent that these are not gender-based. There are some archetypes where men are more likely to be that archetype, and then with women, the same thing, but that's only because of patriarchy and toxic masculinity. That's all. No other reason. So the Empress is someone who governs multiple realms through cultural atmosphere. If the Emperor sets the architecture, the boundaries, the standards, the principles that creates the structure of the realm, then the Empress, she's the one who sets the aesthetic and emotional climate that entire societies will imitate for decades. She is the feminine force that binds realms together through beauty, culture, atmosphere, lifestyle, and symbolic power. So she mirrors the queen. She is a queen. The Empress is a queen. She's just a queen of multiple realms, which makes her an empress. So an empress governs through culture, taste, aesthetic standards, emotional tone, social patterns, archetypal embodiment, lifestyle paradigms, and mainstream feminine identity. And remember, when I use feminine and masculine, I'm not talking about gender norms. I am talking about the polarity system of masculine and feminine, which has nothing to do with gender. Empresses are the ones who reshape how society feels about itself. For example, Princess Diana, she reshaped global feminine identity, philanthropy, fashion expectations, and media ethics. Another example that I like to use is Cleopatra. Like, how many centuries ago was she in existence and we still reference her, that she's still a symbol for something? Empresses become generational symbols, centuries in the future. These people will be remembered for a long time. Another example of an empress would be Prince and Michael Jackson. Again, don't be alarmed by me using a male for an example. This is not about gender. This is just about function. They have become generational icons that people still reference for a long time. I would say that there have been more male empresses recently than there have been women empresses. The empress determines the climate within realms. Atmosphere is her governance tool. So her influence always manifests as new artistic movements, new fashion archetypes, new female identity scripts. To give an example, Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe. New emotional norms, new relational norms, and new lifestyle norms. Of course, we already established in the last video, emperors cross multiple realms through scale and empire building. The empress crosses realms through the seduction of culture, symbolic power, myth-making, storytelling, feminine mystique, luxury and ease, emotional intelligence, and she becomes a cross-realm icon by being unmistakably herself. Remember, it's all about the embodiment when it comes to the empress. Who she is sets the tone for the entire atmosphere within several realms. A good example, a modern example, would be Zendaya. She's very quiet. We don't know a lot about her. But the way that she had, like the way her presence and her existence has set the tone across fashion, film, youth culture, beauty, elegance, black femininity, luxury. She didn't build products, she built a presence, and her presence becomes, is it barometer? The atmosphere, I think it's, yeah, the atmospheric pressure thermometer thingy. Barometer. She becomes the barometric pressure point and measure of an entire multitude of realms. Kings and emperors often announce authority, so it's masculine. It's masculine in nature. So they're very gaudy. They're very staunch. They can be very matter of fact. But for empresses, they don't have to speak. They don't have to make it known that I am the creator of this. You just know. Their impact is felt. And it's known. It's like collectively known. You may not know her name, but the personality that you've picked up was from her. You may not know who she is, but the way that you dress was based off of her, even millennials later. Their power is recognized through the collective culture's recognition. It's felt before it's ever spoken. No one even has to explain it. Like usually years later, it's explained only because we have then have the experience with them. But it's oftentimes inexplainable. Like for Michael Jackson. How can you explain Michael Jackson? I wasn't even there. He died when I was 7. So imagine the people who were there. How can you explain Michael Jackson to people who've never experienced him? You can't. He's an icon. He's forever immortalized in, yes, the right word. He's forever immortalized in the collective's consciousness, and they will not be forgotten. Defining factors is, for an empress, is owning multiple realms through her aesthetic and cultural imprint. And again, I'm using her just because of East, but it is not gender specific. It's just the feminine version of what I'm talking about, right? You got it. So she owns multiple realms through her aesthetic and cultural imprint. So she may have multiple beauty brands, fashion houses, lifestyle products, media ventures, artistic endeavors, philanthropic spheres, global influence patterns. But the real thing, her empire, is based off of the identity that she engineers, because that is what influences everything she creates. Her ventures always become stepping stones for feminine identity. So it teaches women, well, I don't want to say women, it teaches the feminine within humans how to exist, what to aspire towards. Like for Marilyn Monroe, for so long, oh, did you know that there's a black man, like there was a black version of Marilyn Monroe, or I should say Marilyn Monroe was a black version of her. Like I'm gonna look up her name, because let's give her some respect. Let's see. Was it Twixie Two Sweets? Joyce Bryant. Joyce Bryant was who Marilyn Monroe was before she even was a thing. She was the blueprint. Marilyn Monroe was just white and got the upheaval. And that's not to minimize her impact and her influence, but I also want to make sure I recognize a true empress, which was Miss Joyce Bryant. Anyways, so both of those women have set a standard for femininity, feminine expression, feminine embodiment, feminine leadership, feminine perspective, I guess. Another defining factor is when her brand atmosphere affects entire industries. And so remember, her brand is not a product. The center of her universe or ecosystem is not a product. She is the center. She's the center. And everything else, whether it's the beauty standards, music videos, products, those are just expressions of her. And that's how you build an empire as an empress. So just her identity alone can shape editorial aesthetics, music video styles, event formats, social media culture. She rewires culture like a gravitational force. And I would love to give recognition to Miss Olandria. She's literally a modern day empress. Like, she has just started. It's been months since she got into the public eye. Just wait, 20 years from now, Everything I'm saying in this video will be realized through her as long as she protects herself and her embodiment. We will remember her for a long time. We really will. Anyways, this has been part 4 of my 6-part governance archetypal series. We just discussed the Empress. In the next part, we'll be discussing the High Priestess, and that'll be linked down below. Anyways, I thank you for stopping by in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.